Hello, I'm going to speak about what it is that is wanting to come out of me at this time. This time I'm speaking about judgment. And when you pass judgment on to another person, you're passing something on that you feel strongly about, that you don't like or agree with them about what they did. And also, you don't feel that what they did was correct or proper. So the world has this issue with judgment. And when you judge, many times it comes simultaneously with not discerning the truth and not looking for the truth. Because many times people do not do that. They do not look for the truth or discern the truth in a situation or many situations. The problem that poses is that then it just is assumed that you agree with whatever's been told to you, whatever somebody has said to you, whatever the situation appeared to you first as. That is what usually continues on and people judge by. The problem that this poses is that people don't always tell the truth or do not tell the whole truth. And when you don't discern from the truth from what it is that could be lied about, and you don't question it, then lies in the issue that you don't find the truthful answer and you don't pass the correct judgment. And that's a lot of times what the issue has been, is that people do not like to actually find the truth because they'd rather talk about things that aren't the truth or that the other person has told them. Not realizing the other person that has told them this could have been telling them a lie, a partial truth. And I've dealt with this in my life, and it's recently, and the universe with the black moon has tested me on this and still is testing me on this, that I've learned from my lessons. And one of my lessons was that I change how I feel towards people that hurt me. Because there are a lot of people that hurt someone, the sole reason being that they were hurt in the first place, in some way, shape, or form. And it may not have been meant that way, but it may have been initially presented that way, or the person that is viewing it is seeing it that way. And that may be because of things that have happened in the past, and the way that people have treated them, and the way that they have learned to take things and to treat people certain ways, if that makes sense. So the way that you change this passing of judgment and change discerning the truth is you find the truth. You spend time thinking about, instead of saying, oh, this thing happened and that person did this thing in this way, hurt this person, did this other thing that hurt these other people. You ask questions instead of saying, this is what happened. You say, did this happen? And when you do this, you ask questions, you come up with better answers. The better answers being that you can then pass a different judgment or the correct judgment on the situation. And yes, the judgment could also be a good thing. You could judge somebody in a good way. That happens too. Many times the judgment happens in a bad way. So the way you continue that, then you ask those questions and you find the answers in a situation that maybe happened, that a person spoke and said something inappropriate, said something angry, said something nasty. You would ask the question, why were they nasty? Instead of, oh, they were nasty. And then you pass the judgment and say, that person's just not a nice person. That person's angry. That person's nasty. You would ask, why is that person nasty? Did that person that he got angry with do something? Many times it doesn't. They don't do anything. They didn't deserve it. So you'd take that in and you'd say, okay, so then if they didn't deserve it, why did that person get angry with them? Because the person that got angry has something that affected them in their life. And we all have those issues, things that affect us in our lives. And when you stack them and you go from one thing, you add another thing, and you add another thing, and you add another, and you add another, and then you add another thing. Example, a person walking down the street bumps into you. You get angry about it. Most of the time, if it's an accident, you don't get angry about it. But if you got angry about it, that person that got angry just had somebody bump into them up on purpose multiple times, and they were asked not to do that. And the boundary that they put in place was not followed. This continually happens every day. Every day this person's bumped into. And this is just an example. I mean, this may not be something that really happens. And it may. If you have a child that's 8 or 9 years old, that has an older brother, one of them may do this. So it may fit into a situation. It may not be adults, and that's fine. Just a general example. The child then, if there's a younger child that keeps getting bumped into, or the older child gets bumped into, repeatedly every day, and they get upset about it, and they show it, and they get mad, and they say, don't bump into me. And they show it in their actions, that their emotions come out, and they have emotions behind it. After the first week, it might not be as bad, but after 2 weeks, happens every day, and they get angry and upset about it. They're going to get angry quicker, at the snap of a finger. They're going to change how upset they get. They're going to get angry faster. They're going to continue to get angry. And many of us have this issue where these things are affecting us. Families affect us. Friends affect us. Lovers. Wife. Husband. Kids sometimes. Where they do things and then it adds to the next thing. And it adds and they compile. And when they compile, it makes you angry and upset faster. One more thing happens, it sets you over the edge. And the universe and the world, the way it is in the current state, a lot of people have many things compiled on top of each other. So when that extra next thing hits and it happens, it may take that time, or it may be another time right after that, the next time. pushes that person over the edge and upsets them. They get angry fast. And that other person may not have been somebody they wanted to get angry at. But that thing happened again. Or that next thing that continued to compile happened, and they got upset. So then when you find out these answers, well, why did that person get so upset? And you find out that they had this going on, it tells you, oh, yeah, I can see why that person got upset, because if that was me, I'd probably be angry faster, or maybe you'd be angry less quickly because you have less things going on than that person. But if you have a lot going on, it's going to affect you quickly. And you'll understand, and then that judgment that you originally passed onto that person and said, that person is just an angry person, and oh, I don't like that person. That changes. And it changes your mind, and you start to think, what else do I do this with? When you start asking questions. What else could I ask? What other answers could be found that maybe I haven't looked for? Your energy goes where you put your attention. Energy flows where energy goes, where energy flows, is this saying. Where you focus on, that's where your attention is going to be. So if you focus on it, and you try to find these answers instead of passing judgment, and you discern the truth, then you understand people better. You understand why somebody did something, and why maybe that person is the way they are. In my life, I've been a person that has had a short fuse. And my fuse was short because there were so many things that I held on to. So many things that compiled. If it was interest on money, I would have had a ton of it. But it wasn't. It was things that I didn't deal with and didn't let go. Didn't breathe before, in and out. When you breathe in and out, it's known to allow you to release anything that's within you that's bothering you. It's also known to relax you. I had many things within my life that were contributing to my anger, and I held on to something that I didn't process from when I was a kid. I held on to things that I didn't process when I was a teenager. I held on to things that I didn't process when I was a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, then a 30-year-old, 35-year-old, and now 40, 44 now. But I've let go of some of those things, of many of those things. I've learned to find those answers. When you find those answers, it's the same as the judgment that you pass on people. It affects how you deal with things and how you feel about things, how you act towards people. And it's important to do this stuff. And some people have a lifetime to learn this. Some people have 30 years like I did, 30, 35 years to learn this, like I did. Some people have years, like 5 years, that they held on to something and to let go of. Many times, it's 20 plus years. If you don't learn to deal with it when it's happening in that time frame in your life, chances are you're not going to learn to deal with it 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, unless you take the time to deal with it. When you take the time to deal with issues that you didn't, maybe anger that you had from the past, Maybe you don't even know why you were angry because you never looked at it, because you never looked back, or because you never examined it further. You just had the anger come up, and then it continued to resurface. And then eventually, what happened to me was, in my life, and many people have this happen too, you get sick of it. You get sick of acting a certain way, and you say, I need to do something about this. I need to change. In order for you to change, you need to do different things, or do things differently. It's okay though. However you felt that you dealt with it, that was how you learned to deal with it at the time. And me, I was between the ages of 3 and 5 when this happened, when my anger came up. And that situation, I didn't know how to deal with it. And I was learning from myself and how I thought I should deal with it. And it wasn't the best way, but it was the best way at the time for me, because no one was presenting me with another situation. No one was saying, here, do this, Brian. Brian, you got upset, let it out. Yes, you got angry, that's okay. It's okay that you were angry. I understand, and you see yourself, and you see that yourself like you were a person that was seeing it from the outside of you, another person. I see you. I see you on the inside. I see why you're dealing with it, and you're getting upset. I see why you're angry. You're angry for a reason. You deserve to be angry. Normally people would have a but there. But when you put in the but though, you put in the but, you say, you can get angry, you did something wrong, you didn't do it the correct way, you didn't do it this way, you didn't do it the right way. So instead of a but, it should be, you did it the way you thought you needed to. It's okay. Let it go. It's okay to also let it go. It's okay to let it come up. It's okay to change how you think about it and feel about it. It's okay. I've told myself that many times, and in doing this video, I started saying something and I lost my train of thought. I lost what I was going to say, and where I was going with it. I stopped. I restarted the video, but before I did, I said, take a deep breath in and out. It's okay. It's okay. Because a lot of times we don't think it's okay. How we did something and how we acted, we judge it. And when you judge it, you look at it through the eyes of one situation, a person looking at it in one situation. You're not looking at it through the eyes of the person that's you, that's having compassion for yourself and allowing yourself to make a mistake, to not do something the way that was the best way for you, even though it felt like it was at the time. Holding on to things is not the best way to deal with anything. And that ends up causing you problems. And in my life, it resurfaced anytime I got angry. It was about like an abandonment thing. And the situation was that I got angry and upset with my mother, who went down the street on a tractor, who lived in the country. The neighbor had a tractor, and for some reason was giving her a ride. I don't know why. All I knew was my mother was going down the street, so I got angry. I got scared. I got upset. I cried. I screamed at my grandmother. I hid under my bed. And when I did that, it felt like I was being abandoned, even though my mother didn't mean to. And then the situation when she came back, she didn't think anything of going down the street because she was just going down the street. She wasn't meaning to leave me and wasn't going behind me going, I'm leaving you, Brian, because you are not a good child. She wasn't doing that. But in my mind said, why is she leaving? She's leaving me. And then when she came back, she said, oh, no, that wasn't the way. I wasn't leaving you. She laughed about it. Because she didn't think anything of it. But the way I took it, it was traumatic to me. It was something that I thought wasn't important, but it was important, but in her eyes, she thought it wasn't important that I was angry and that I wasn't important. Even though she never said that, I took it as that way because when I was that age, 3 to 5 years old, I didn't know how else to think about it. And my mother didn't say, and I never said, I should say, I never came out and said, Mom, I don't think that you think of me, you love me. I don't think that you treated me right. I don't like the way you acted. Because when you're that age, you don't know what to say. You kind of don't say anything. There's a lot of silence. And silence, it allows for an interpretation, and sometimes it's too much of an interpretation. My interpretation ended up being, I'm being abandoned. So then anytime any situation like that came up again, or maybe the cycle was that it would present itself again and again, and I'd take it that way and I'd get angry and upset. When somebody wasn't listening to me, I'd get angry and upset because I thought, just like I did when I was sitting there with my mother, I felt like I deserved to be heard, and it was presented and taken that I don't deserve to be heard. But when those things came up that angered me, that I thought I deserved to better for, which is what anger usually presents itself as, you're upset about something that you feel you deserve to be treated in a better way about, or differently. When I got angry about not being heard, when somebody wouldn't listen, or I thought they weren't listening to me, I thought I wasn't being heard, I got angry about it. And I'd bite people, not literally, but my reaction was to show you that I'm angry and that you hurt me in that situation. But when you do that, people don't know, just like the judgment thing at the beginning, the story I was telling at the beginning. The judgment thing at the beginning was, I don't know why you're angry. Right? So people don't know why you're angry. They didn't know why I was angry. All they knew was that they saw me get angry, and then if I work around them, or if I'm around them on a daily basis, they saw me get angry in other times too, at the same situations. Maybe they didn't know it was that similar situation, but they saw me get angry multiple times, and they continued to think, oh, well, he's an angry person, which I was at the time, but I didn't do anything to change the situation because I didn't know that I could do anything to change it, or that if I changed it, that I should be able to change it and make it better I didn't know that. A lot of times, that is what happens in life, is people don't know that they can change something that happened a long time ago, or reshape how they get angry about something, because many times they don't know that they're angry because of that thing that happened when they were little, or that happened 5 years ago, because they didn't learn to deal with it correctly, because they shoved it down and they said, I got angry, and they got angry. And your body is kind of like a bookmark, like a book, and your body takes that issue, and it's like a bookmark, and it goes, here, I'm going to put this right here because I need to deal with this. It doesn't say this is how you deal with it, because if you didn't know how to deal with it in the first place, how would you know how to deal with it then, unless you learned? Your body says here, and sometimes it's in a position in your body, like your arm, your shoulder. Sometimes it's conditions that are deep within that a family member has had, that are ancestral, like diabetes. And when you get to a certain point and you're triggered by a trauma, an emotion, something repeatedly, after a certain point, when you're triggered by that, it unlocks these things in your body and the ancestral things that affect you. And they may be ailments that an ancestor had that you develop. And that's the reason why many people develop things ancestrally, because cycles repeat. Lifetimes, from my life to my father's life, I experience what my father did. My dad experienced what his father did. My mom experienced what her mom and dad did. I experienced what my mother did. And I live throughout my life in those cycles. At certain time frames, things activate. And there may be a stressor, something that causes you stress, maybe like in my situation, a divorce caused me to have something triggered that also with other things because of the divorce that happened to trigger. Feeling guilt, maybe. Sometimes people feel guilt. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's resentment. And I had some of those things, but I've let a lot of that go. And I started to develop. My dad, who had pancreatic cancer and died at 57, never was diagnosed with diabetes, but then I had the beginning of diabetes, so like pre-diabetes. And that happened after the divorce. And it started to come up, and then nothing before that point ever came up. And me being a garbage disposal when I was a kid, and all the way through my adulthood until that point, eating anything, and I'm 165 pounds tall, 6 foot tall. I'm not big. I'm not like somebody that looks like a garbage disposal. I'm not like what you would expect somebody that eats a lot would look like. Never had this issue. Never had blood sugar issues. Never felt funny. Yes, if I didn't exercise, then I'd probably notice something here and there, and then maybe gained a little bit of weight in my face, and my chub on my body in certain spots, but I never really had that issue until that point. My father, who passed away from pancreatic cancer, never got diagnosed. My father, my oldest brother, was diagnosed with pre-diabetes and had high blood sugar issues, was taking medication for it. I approached it as I'm going to find out what I can do to heal this. And you can heal ailments. I took a class and a course and had a doctor that did this for people daily, and obviously it cost a lot more than the class for people to visit him. He helped me with showing how to heal this, and I healed it. Still have, times where I eat sugary stuff, but I don't eat anywhere near what I used to. I used to eat pastas, 16 ounces of pasta almost in one sitting, with the sauce, which also had sugar. So you can see where I'm going with that. If I'm eating pasta like that, sugary snacks, different stuff like that, high carb things. Never thought that I'd have to worry about it. Never thought to even change anything. French fries, fried foods. French fries constantly. I was around it at my job, still am, but I don't do that. But I don't eat that anymore. There was a point that came to my life and I said, I'm going to change this. And I tried to change it. And then I realized I could heal it. And I healed it. I don't go back to those things that I learned about it though, because I realized that I was eating sugary things and a lot of carbs and eating bad for me things that were causing inflammation. A lot of different things that were causing body ailments. So when I approached it the way I did, I changed it. When you can change that, when you find the root cause and you deal with the root cause and you change how you felt about it, or if it was involving someone else, how you felt about them, you offer forgiveness. You offer love. You offer a change in the way you do things, the way you think, the way you feel. When you question things, why did I feel that way? Why did I get so angry? Oh, I used to get angry at this situation. And there were certain things that would pinpoint here, why I get angry about it. And it was the same situation that I dealt with when I was a kid, that I didn't deal with properly. So now I don't eat junk food. I eat healthier. I try to. I still eat occasionally some fried foods here and there. I don't eat French fries. I've cut them out. I used to eat them daily, multiple times a day, and while at work or bringing food home from work, because I'd always have free food working in a restaurant. When I changed all that stuff, I realized that I needed to change it. I had a reason to change it. It was difficulty and I could feel it, like even from the issues with the diabetes before I healed it. Behind my eyes started to feel funny. Had pressure behind my eyes. I'd feel a little bit differently. I'd feel like I was taking some supplements, so the supplements might have affected some of it, like turmeric and ginger. And sometimes ginger makes you, and both of them, make you really susceptible to being bruised easily. Well, when I'd eat a sugary thing or something high in sugar, especially added sugar, I'd get that feeling. And there were times where I got bruises. I was big on massaging myself when I had sore spots on my body, my foot. And I was massaging my foot and I got bruises from it. I've never gotten bruises. I've been pretty rough with myself before as well. So that was causing me issues, and that's what caused me to change. And unfortunately, sometimes that is what you have happen. You have a scare. Many people have a heart attack or a stroke, or they have that situation, an ailment, diabetes. Some people start developing MS. And when you start developing those, it makes you want to change. And you should want to change because it's going to make you live a better life. You're going to be able to focus more. You're going to be able to pay attention more on certain areas of your life. And it will affect your life in a positive way. It will continue to affect your life more positively. I've witnessed it in my own life, and I've helped other people as well in dealing with those things. Getting out of their own way. I still am in my own way sometimes. It's been an issue that's been a ongoing thing. I've always gotten in my own way because of the things that are in here that I believe and think about myself, my life, my capabilities, and me, what I am. And it doesn't change until you decide to change it. When you decide to change it, you ask these questions. You find out the truth. You find answers. So that is the extent of what I wanted to focus on this video. This is something new to me. I've made the biggest leaps that I've probably ever made in me as a person recently, because I questioned things about myself, because I wanted better, because I thought I deserved better. And I actually do think I deserve that. And I'm starting to believe better, believe in myself. I didn't have that before. It was hard. It was hard to believe. It was hard to say, this is something that is good for me. And I didn't like that. I wasn't used to that. Like, oh, these are things that are good for me. I thought I deserved bad things because that's always what I got. You don't. If you think that way, you don't. You don't deserve bad things to happen to you. When bad things happen to you, it's the reality that you're projecting into yourself by the thoughts inside here. The mind can be a wonderful thing, and it can be a terrible thing. When you allow it to be a terrible thing, that's what it is. When you change it and you think, I deserve better than this, I'm lovable, I'm deserving of better and being treated better, the outside world shows it better. That is another topic that I'm going to probably elaborate more on. I would like to continue to do these videos because I feel it helps somebody to see this. If it helps you, like, subscribe. More of this is coming, I promise. I'm doing this. This was very hard for me. This was a change, and this was a long time coming. I've been looking to do things. I've done things on Facebook before where I've had a group and I've been behind the scenes and not shown my face. Typed. I'm very good with writing. Writing as a Gemini is very good for me. Putting things in proper perspective at the right times for people. These are all things that I'm offering to other people now. And when I do this is good for others to learn from my mistakes. This is something that everyone should be able to do. You just need to make the choice. What's the choice you want to make?